What's going on, guys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another Meta Tactics video. In today's video, we're going to go over the 4-3-2-1. You might have seen a lot on the pro scene very recently, and I really think just of how it's positioned uniquely, you do have a lot of space to basically maneuver around the middle. The way I look at it is kind of like a 4-1-2-1-2 essentially, except for as opposed to two strikers in a cam, you have a left forward, right forward, and then you have a singular striker. But when it comes into a realistic game example, it actually attacks in like a line of three. So think of it like a 4-3-3, a narrow 4-3 is the best advice I can probably say. But the reason people like this, one of the main reasons, and I'll go over the tactics right now, and we're going to focus on more of an attacking, lean towards the aggressive side, but one that's more balanced for the entire game. Okay, so the reason why this is important, this part is important, is because if you like to play in the middle areas, but you don't like to use the wide areas that much, and you always want three players across the middle, it's a very good formation. I like to think of it really well because against two CDM, do the left center mid and right center mid join the attack, it does make those overlaps. And where this formation excels the most is when you get the ball down the wing, and I'll show you this in the players in the box example. When you get the ball inside the box, you have your left forward, right forward, and you have your left center mid and right center mid join the attack. And it's very hard for those sweats to defend against it. So let's just go straight into tactics now. Again, because this is a very balanced tactic, but it's still going to be attacking, I would recommend the balanced defensive style. You can delve onto pressure every touch if you want to, but I recommend on balance. Now, people don't realize, but before, this used to be the most defensive formation in the game because you could have all 11 players inside the box. I don't know if any of you guys knew that. I think it still exists to some extent, but not as bad as it did, I think, 2 years ago. So thankfully, no one really knew about that too much. But every single player used to camp inside the box. This was used as a defensive formation and equally as an attacking one. What we've done here, we've done nothing a bit funky. We left the width on 50, nothing too funky about that. And the depth, we just increased it to 60. Nothing too much, we just want to be middle up, high up the pitch. The formation defends quite narrowly. If you want to, you can make this defend in a 4-4-2. You can have, for example, these two being CDMs, for example, have this guy join as a right mid, this guy join as a left mid, and defend in a 4-4-2. But we're going to let it defend naturally in the 4-3-2. I think that works very, very well with the three players in the middle. Because don't forget, most players are playing a 5-3-2, or 3-5-2, a 5-2-1-2, a 4-1-2-1-2, anything with two strikers. So you basically have in here at least a 3 versus 3 as opposed to a typical 3 versus 2. So for the depth, it's increased a little bit. Now the build-up player, this one's actually very important. I would recommend long ball. Now, for those who watch most of my tactics videos, long ball is what I recommend for most players. Because the truth is, even like the rank 2 players, they don't do L1 triggers, in my opinion, enough. And I think if you look on the pro scene, every single player, the L1 triggers, they're concentrating 100%. I'm sure you might be as well, but maybe not to the extent they are. And even I use long ball because long ball just aids you, okay? Now the problem is, with this formation, you want to be quick and fast, okay? So I wouldn't recommend definitely not using slow build-up play on this formation. Although I recommend slow build-up play for most formations, I will not recommend it on this one. This is kind of like a long ball or a balanced or a fast build-up type. I would recommend long ball. As usual, start on long ball. If it's too slow, use fast build-up play. If it's too fast, you can use balance. But to be honest, long ball is good balance. I wouldn't go towards fast build-up play because if you're playing that quickly, to be honest, you're probably just getting frustrated. You can't play that much. Maybe you're playing against a lower tier player, you can get away with it, but not against a better player. Now, as usual, I always say to choose between both, but for this one, I'll exclusively say forward runs. Long ball forward runs, if those of you who've been watching my videos for a very long time, it's always been my go-to. In fact, when I released the 4-2-3-1, I think on the second week people came out, I used long ball forward runs. If you watched my last video on the 4-2-3-1, it hasn't changed because long ball and forward runs has always been there. But direct passing, it depends on how you use this formation. If you're sitting here like, okay, you know what, no, just, you know what, you can just get on with it, skip the tactics. But this is important, guys, because truth is, if you're the kind of person that likes to get inside the box, and you know what I'm talking about, especially if you're on new gen, if you like to sweat the ball or do that first time shot, and you know what I'm talking about when you get the ball down the wing, pass to a striker and do a first time shot, or do like a layoff to someone else, do a first time shot, then you'd want to use direct passing, especially on new gen. If you don't go down that route, I'd recommend forward runs. That's the two ways I would do it. I would not recommend possession at all. Do not use it. And balance, to be honest, unless you use a lot of L1, R1 triggers, I wouldn't use balance. I will be honest, direct passing or forward runs we'd go to. Direct pass, especially if you go for the pass in the middle. Now, for the width, 55, nothing too crazy. I mean, it's basically exactly the same as 50. It's almost very, very similar. Just a bit wider, nothing too much. What I'm trying to do is, a lot of the times when you're playing on new gen, your opponent's backline will be like over here. So what I want is I want these 3 players to be in between my opponent's CDMs and the back line of 4. And then I want, for example, these 3 players behind, okay? So what I want to do is I want to essentially create like a 3 versus 2 situation in the centre backs. Now, most players that play a 5-3-2 are going to have a back line of 5. So what you want to do basically, if you have a back line of 5, the reason why I say you want to play somewhat quick is you want to play, and this for those that understand the 3-5-2 how it works, you want to play before your opponent's left mid and right mid come back to create the back 5. So what you're doing is when you're countering or when you have the ball, your players are going to have a 3 versus 3. So when you get the ball, you can speed the ball up. Now, why this is so important is this is important for you. And this will help a lot of you that play the 4-1-2-1-2. The 4-1-2-1-2, let's just say any variation of it. If your opponent's got 2 centre backs, you find that this player stays a bit behind him. And if your opponent has a back 3, for example, you don't have a 3-on-3 because the cam's a bit further behind. But when you play the 4-3-2-1, it's basically an exact 3-on-3. They're all matched up alongside each other. So that's why it proves to be very, very effective. So that's why I would say, and I'll come back to this in a second, if you're going to use the players in the box, use them on 7, but there's something else you can do. Put this on 3 or 4, and then what I do, now I'll explain to you how this works now. There's 2 variations of this, okay? You can play one variation with all these players on stay forward. That means that when you get the ball, you're going to have 3 players on stay forward. You'll be defending solely with 3 players in the middle, but you're going to have 3 players on stay forward. That is the way that I would recommend it. The second way is you can defend it in a 4-4-2. Now I'm going to explain to you how to defend it in a 4-4-2 first. All you have to do is you got to decide which 2 players are going to be your centre mid, okay? So Declan Rice, I want him to be a centre mid. So I want to put him on stay back, cover centre, okay? The other centre mid, let's just say hypothetically speaking here, I want Bernardo Silva to be on centre mid. So I want to put him on stay back and cover centre. So the game knows that these 2 players are going to sit in the middle. So how the formation works is the game's like, okay, well, if you put, for example, the right forward on comeback and offence, he can't come in the centre mid, so he'll come as a right mid. And then the left centre mid, the key piece you do here is you just put him here on cover wing. And again, realize, oh, he wants to stay as a left mid. Then that is how you defend in a 4-4-2. Now, don't put stay back while attacking. You can put get forward, but leave it on balance, I recommend. Someone's got high work rates, it's perfect for this because you see, this player has an instruction for comeback. That means he's going to come back regardless. This guy is on balance. So he will come back and forth depending on his work rates. So that's why you need to find someone here who's got high attacking work rates. Ideally, high, medium high you can get away with. But high defensive work rates ideally would be the really good thing to go for. So that is how you defend it in a 4-4-2 if you want to do that. I'm not going to teach you that way. The way I'm going to tell you to do it is I will play this as stay forward, stay central for all the players in the middle. Now, what you can do is, if you don't like them to stay central, you can also leave them on balanced. And balanced also works particularly well. Now, this is up to you again. This formation, it depends, because you see a lot of pro players that all play very similarly, but they all build up sometimes in different ways. They go down the wing or whatever. But if you put these guys on stay central, you're going to have no wingers the entire game. So when you build up, if you like to use the butterfly wings, as I say it, it's going to be absent in a sense, unless you trigger that player when he's in a wide position, that manually. Unless you get the ball with your right wing, do a 1-2 and let him run forward. A lot of players, they don't do that. They don't understand how to do that either. So if you like to be, no, I can't build up without wingers, then leave them on balance, okay? Leave them on stay forward. If you want to, you can put get it behind. I put them on get it behind. I just put the central striker always on stay central. So it gives these guys the options to drift wide. And then these guys, on the side drift wide, this guy stays central. That is it, okay? So you have one guy always in the middle. If you get the ball with your right mid, you do an L1 trigger, a right back, he'll sometimes make them run down the wing. Perfect, okay? Now, you might have seen other previous videos where I have, for example, drop between defenders. If you want to, you could do that. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to put simple stay back while attacking, cover center, and this one's to the edge of the box. Now, this is not a CDM. This is a center mid. But if you can get a CDM here, Declan Rice, someone medium-high attacking work rates, it works very ideal in this formation. This is going to be the guy that sits pack. Now, these guys are left center mid and right center mid. They're going to be very attacking. So what I put them both on is get forward, okay? You can leave one of them on balance if you find it too attacking. The most important thing is getting to the box for a cross. Now, you can put this on 10 if you want to. But what I do is I put this on 4, I put this on 5. And I naturally get into the box for cross. These guys are left foot, right foot, they're going to do it anyway. So I naturally put them on get into the box for cross like that. If you want to increase the players in the box, I like my team to be a bit more further back. But if you like to do that, you can make that 7. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So what happens is that when you get the ball down the wing, when you cross the ball in, or you do a regular pass, you know what I'm talking about, the sweat, then these players will all run inside the box. You're going to create a mismatch, and you'll basically always find a gap as long as you can play for time, either left back and right back. So the question you're going to say to me is, well, why don't you just use drop between defenders, let this guy sit in a 3 and have these guys go left and right? Well, the problem is that you're going to get countered. You're going to have no one staying back, and you're going to have a 3 versus 3 at the back. It's too risky. So what I propose is put cover center on all these guys, okay? So put cover center on all these guys, yeah? Like that. Defend in a 3 midfield. Put everyone on this on stay back. Put these guys on overlap. And then what I would do is, when I'm attacking, if I need to provide or I need support from my left back and right back to become almost left mid to right mid, you can always trigger them going forward. So at least that way, you at least have a back 3. So if you're going to go on the right hand side, you can do a 1-2 with him, send him forward, and at least you got the back 3 in shape to create a 3. Because remember, every single player right now is playing a 3-5-2. At least some nature of a 4-1-2-1-2 or a 3-5-2. You might rarely find, for example, a 4-2 when someone is winning, of course, when I close out the game. But most people are settling for the 3-5-2, to be honest. So that is why I'm just trying to be conservative. Because a lot of people, if I put both these players on get forward or balanced, people will be like, I've got 2 defenders, I've got no one to defend with. Neil, what have you done? You made me lose. That's kind of what I get. So I'm just saying this now so you can adapt it for your playstyle. Remember, my job is to give you a template and you guys adapt it. But this is why I want to give you a bit of a different approach to it, to give you a bit of different examples of how you can use it. That is the 4-3-2-1. It's up to you how you want to defend it. Don't forget this video is sponsored by Patreon series. Patreon.com/NealGuides. Link is down below in the description. If you don't get bet after 1 month, I'll refund your money. And of course, I'll make a video on how to use this 4-3-2-1. Should be up there in a couple of days as well. If you don't get bet after 1 month, I'll refund your money. Link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/NealGuides. But as I said, I want to give you 2 variations of it. So one that defends in a 4-4-2 and one that defends with 3 central mids and 3 players on stay forward. I think most of you guys like the option with 3 players on stay forward. I think most people will delve down that route because they just find it to be a bit more interesting and a bit more attacking. I think that's what a lot of players would like that. But that way you keep 3 players in the middle. And I think a lot of people, they always say to me, you know what, 2 CDMs is fine. But I found myself to be not attacking enough in a 4-3-3. But if I put all the players on stay forward, then I got only 2 CDMs back. So it's actually a very good balance. You've got 3 players sitting, 3 players are going forward. The question you're going to ask me now is, will this replace one of my tactics? No. Because for me, it just doesn't suit my playstyle. For those of you that know me, I don't cross the ball. I literally do not cross the ball. If someone wants to watch me, I'm so predictable because I just don't do 2 things. I don't shoot outside the box and I don't cross the ball in. It's just my playstyle. Can I get maybe way more wins? Yeah, maybe I can win 10 out of 10 or maybe 9 out of 10 instead of 8. But I don't mind because that's just my playstyle. If I lose, I don't care. I want to score a good goal. So it's not, for me, it's not down to RNG shooting outside the box, crossing the ball. So that's why I am not using this tactic, okay? So that's why it won't replace my formula tomorrow, but I want you to try it. A lot of people are liking it. I think a lot of people that I've tested it to and given it to, they're liking it. A lot of the pros are using it as well. So you might like it, but for my playstyle, it doesn't suit mine. Maybe it could place, maybe I might just for next week put it in the 4-3-2-1 because I got that spare slot. You might have seen it in the formation slot. I've got that spare slot. I'm not really using the 4-1-2-1-2 that much. Well, sometimes I am, to be honest. I wish you could have 10 slots, but unfortunately only have 4 because your balance tactic, unfortunately, is made redundant because obviously that's for your chemistry purposes. But that's something I wanted to mention to you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll have a tactics update, I believe, tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Sorry, the players. I forgot to mention that. The players to go through. I just put the 3 attacking players up front. 3 strikers or wingers, whatever. And if you have like an extra centre mid, like I have like Sinistera, I just put him as a left centre mid. Put one guy as a CDM in the middle. And if you're defending, as I said, defending in a 4-4-2, as I mentioned earlier, make sure you have this guy on a high attacking work rates. At least medium high or something of medium, I would say. Don't high is ideal because when you lose the ball, don't forget there's no instruction here telling this player to come back. Come back in offense means that I don't care if you've got low defensive work rates. I want you to come back and defend. So the game will make the player come back and defend. Below defense work rates might take a bit longer, but that's just how it works. In this one, there's no saying come back and defense. The game's just like, okay, you can get forward if you want to, but when you're defending, when you lose the ball, when you transition, you're going to come back. If you have, for example, drop between defenders, you're never going forward. And of course, if you have stay back while attacking, no, you're doing the same. So with balance, you're just saying, okay, you know what? Go forward and go back when you want to, but the work rates take a bit more, have a bit more leeway in terms of that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, and of course, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.